Here's how we can do a pre-workout mobility routine for the legs. Your joints go under a lot of stress during an exercise, during resistance training especially, and you need to keep them as mobile as possible to reduce the chances of injury. Okay, so the joints have something called as synovial fluid, and it is secreted by synovial membrane. Okay, and they reduce the friction inside the joint, so it's best if you can stimulate them beforehand you start with the main exercises. Okay, and the connective tissues around them, the tendons and the ligaments, they will also be needed to be warmed up properly. Okay, so let's begin. Leg swings. Just swing the legs forward and back. If you are unable to do this while standing on a single leg, you can take support of wall and then do it. Okay, now lateral side raises. So it's like this. So again, balance yourself on a single leg and swing the legs towards the side. If you are unable to do this while balancing yourself on a single leg, take support of the wall and then do it. Limit the mobility only to the hip itself. Try not to move the body. Okay, standing external rotations. So feet are hip width apart. Now I'm going to raise my knees, rotate it and move it in an outward direction like this. Try not to place your feet against the ground. Okay, it's best if you can keep the motion constant. If you're unable to balance, take support of the wall and then do it. Okay, standing hip internal rotations. Again, balance yourself on a single leg and rotate the knees in an inward direction. Raise it up as high as you can. Okay, if you're unable to balance, you can take support and then do it. Okay, limit the movement only to the hip. Bilateral hip rotation. So feet is placed a little bit wider than the hip. Now from this point you can just hold both hands towards the hip like this and then use full range of the hip. Okay, rotate them, rotate and use the full range of the hip like this, both clockwise, and then you'll have to do it anti-clockwise. Standing knee flexions. Feet are hip width apart. Okay, just flex the knees and then take it, alternate them. Isolated hip internal and external rotations. So the first one, there is 3 ways to do this. The first one is like this. So just flex the knees, don't change the position of the knees. The knee is still in a vertical straight line with the hips. Okay, so just flex the knees halfway up. Now from this position, internally rotate from the hip. The movement is happening from the hip itself and then externally rotate it. If you are unable to balance, you can always take support of the wall, internally rotate and externally rotate it. This is how it looks. Now the second one, you just raise your knees up like this. Raise your knees up. You need to align it in a straight line to the hip. Okay, again, take support if you are unable to balance. Internally rotate. Movement is happening from the hip itself. Do not lower the knees or elevate it. Externally rotate it, internally and then externally rotate. Now the third one happens from the side. Okay, so you lift up the knees, externally rotate it out. Okay, bring the hips out and then from this position internally rotate. The range is going to be limited, but work within the available range. If you are unable to balance, you can take support and then do it. Bring the hip out internally and then externally rotate. Ankle rotations. Balance yourself on a single leg again. If you are unable to balance, take support. Okay, so from here what you do is you make a small circle with your toes, both clockwise and then anti-clockwise. Knee drives. So kneel down, take a step forward like this. Okay, so the knee is in a 90-degree position to the hip, the ankle is in a 90-degree position to the knees. Now you keep your back upright and you just need to focus on driving the knees forward as far as you can while maintaining the neutral position of the spine. Just drive it forward, don't hold it, come back. This is a dynamic stretch. So drive it forward and then come back. That's it.